Let's get into this. So yeah, Trudeau's telling us now he's so very sorry. It's not his fault though. The immigration thing, even though he's prime minister and the federal government controls immigration, it's really not his fault that we're in a population trap and there's just way too many people came into Canada and it ruined everything. And like you have to wait like 80 hours in an emergency room now and nobody can afford to eat or like rent or to buy a house. Not really his fault, even though he's been in power for 10 years now. Not really his fault. Well, let's hear him explain it. This unfortunate series of circumstances.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last two.
Do you know what? We've been talking about it for a long time. Like this channel's been talking about it for a long time. A lot of Canadians have been talking about immigration for a long time. And you know what he said? He said that we were all racists for talking about it, that only racists and bigots and all white supremacists would be concerned about mass immigration overwhelming every institution, every bit of infrastructure in the country. That's what he told us.
2 years, our population has grown really fast, baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been.
Hold on, bad actors like fake colleges and corporations. Do they control immigration in Canada? Do they control Canadian immigration policy? No, you know what? I'm pretty certain you do, Justin Trudeau. You've been in control of it all. You're responsible for it all. Why are you blaming other people? It's your fault. Oh, I know why he's blaming other people, because he's a liar, because he's a disgrace, because he's an empty narcissist. Let's continue.
And exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm going to let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes.
You don't need to let us in. We already know. You let in way too many people. And you didn't make some mistakes. You made a lot of mistakes. In fact, I don't even think they were mistakes. I think it was the plan. I think things went swimmingly well from your perspective. Wonderfully. It's just those stupid idiot Canadians, those bigots, they were complaining about, those 20-hour emergency room waits and the fact that everything is completely unaffordable now. Trudeau says he could have acted faster on immigration changes. Blames bad actors. Those bad actors ruined everything for Trudeau. And let's see, I kind of feel like everything was going perfectly according to plan for Trudeau. It's just that people realized finally, the corporate media, which is subsidized by the Trudeau government, which means the taxpayers, there came a point where they couldn't sell his lunacy any longer. The people just weren't willing to buy it anymore. And he plummeted in the polls and is, at this point, no matter what he does, he's certain to lose in the next election in October. Probably won't be till October next year. But I don't think any of this was a mistake. I think it was the plan. Clearly, it was the plan. The mass immigration clearly was the plan. Like, what's going on here? It's 2013, 2014, 267,000 new permanent residents. 2014, 2015, 240,000 new permanent residents, which is a lot of immigration for Canada. Trudeau gets in. 2015, 2016, jumps up immediately. What, about 80,000 there? 70, 80,000 there. And then we keep going until we just get to 493,000, 468,000. Insane numbers. A massive jump. This doesn't include all of it, by the way. Let's see. Temporary foreign workers. They need places to live. They need healthcare. Let's see. This only goes up to 2022. Shows that under 700,000 there. It did get up as high as 750,000. Let's see. When did Trudeau get into power? 2015. There we go. It's just a big rise. And then just an insane rise. It was all just, I guess, a mistake. All just a mistake. They didn't realize what they were doing. What's going on here? Number of study permit holders with a valid permit in Canada from 2000 to 2022. So these are foreign students. Also need places to live, healthcare, all of that. They buy things. That's a driver of inflation. Let's see. Trudeau gets into power 2015, 352,000. As of 2022, and it's higher than that now, 807,000. Well, that's a pretty big jump, over more than double. All just a big misunderstanding, I guess. Trudeau says he could have acted faster on immigration changes, blames bad actors. He could not have acted faster because then he wouldn't have been Trudeau. Right? If Trudeau had acted faster on immigration changes, he wouldn't have been Trudeau, and none of this would have been a problem in the first place. It's not like immigration wasn't already high before it was. Trudeau just like, nope, just the max. Most damage possible. Heedless and insane. He blames the bad actors. The bad actors that he blames aren't responsible for immigration. He is. His government is. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the federal government could have acted faster on reining in immigration programs after blaming bad actors for gaming the system. The responsibility lies with you, Justin Trudeau. Trudeau released a nearly 7-minute video on YouTube Sunday talking about the recent reduction in permanent residents being admitted to Canada and changes to the temporary foreign worker program. Well, there's small changes that aren't actually going to help anything. Over the next 2 years, the permanent residency stream is being reduced by about 20% to 365,000 in 2027. Okay, that's gradually going down to that, which is still too much. What will it be in 2025? It'll be 395,000 in 2025. So the big cut, a 21% decrease to 395,000, that ought to solve everything, huh? Let's see. What were we the year that Trudeau got in? 2015, 240,000. So let's see. By my math, that's about another. That's still his reduction is still what, 155,000 more? Well, thanks, Trudeau. Thanks. That's still an insane amount. That's not going to fix anything. That's going to make things worse a little bit slower. It's still the road to catastrophe. It's just slightly slower. Maybe the journalist who wrote this at CTV News could point that out. In the video, Trudeau talks about the need to increase immigration after pandemic lockdowns ended in order to boost the labor market, saying the move helped avoid a full-blown recession. No, it didn't actually. It was all about cheap labor, providing cheap labor. That's it. The people before the pandemic were ready to go back to their job. We didn't need to bring in a bunch of temporary foreign workers, or anybody for that matter. We would have been fine. Helped avoid a full-blown recession. Well, okay, what about the insane explosion in housing costs? Because there's simply not enough people to stay. It's supply and demand, right? It's supply and demand. More people trying to get the same thing. In this case, housing, apartments, houses, townhouses, whatever, costs are going to go up. If there's not enough for everybody, things are going to go way up. Of course, it applies to everything else as well, food, everything else. After that, Trudeau says some bad actors took advantage of these programs. Bad actors. We saw that, some saw that as a profit to game the system. We saw way too many large corporations do that. Well, then why did you let them do it? You control it. The corporations don't control immigration. How does he expect anybody to believe this? Who are his advisors exactly? Okay, we know that you're responsible for it. You can't blame the corporations. You allowed them to do it. You worked with them to do it. You provided them with an enormous amount of cheap labor, much of it subsidized by the Canadian taxpayers, so that Canadians had to pay to be replaced in the workplace by foreigners. It's all just complete lunacy. Let's see. The number of temporary workers and international students will also see reductions. By 2026, the number of temporary foreign workers is expected to drop by over 40%. It should be dropping to 0%. Same with permanent residents. Should all be dropping to 0%. We're in a population trap right now. This is not going to help. All right, we could stem the bleeding right now by making it 0, and then trying to find a solution from there. Try to catch up to this massive increase in population. And the target for international students will decrease by 10%. Wow, 10%. Like, this isn't helping. It all needs to go to nothing. It all needs to go to 0. Number of international students, look, 800,000. Trudeau came into office, it was 352,000. That's a more than doubling. 10%, so 80,000 less. So what? 725,000 still. That's still a massive record. That's still That's still far more than double what it was when Trudeau came into office. Who believes this shit? I mean, for one thing, I don't believe any of it will happen, right? Because the Trudeau government is incapable of doing anything quickly. And you've got an election coming up at the latest October. So less than a year now. I don't believe any of it's going to happen. This is just a desperate attempt to try and somehow cling back to maybe claw back to minority government status or something. That's all this is. None of this is going to happen. And the second he got back into office, he'd immediately ramp it up again. I mean, this shit didn't happen by accident. This is a plan. This isn't, oh, geez, I guess we took our eye off the ball. I guess we just didn't realize how many people came. We're only the federal government or something. I don't know. Like, none of this is an accident. None of this is, oh, well, I guess I guess that's what he's saying. Oh, well, I guess we just kind of messed up. Shucks. None of this is a mess up. This is all intentional. This is just as intentional as with the Biden administration in the States or immigration in the UK. None of this is an accident. None of this is and what kind of an excuse is that, by the way? Oh, well, we just took our eye off the ball, I guess. Shucks, we should have paid more attention. What? Trudeau says he could have acted faster on immigration changes. Blames bad actors. What? That's not accountability. What the fuck does that mean? We made some mistakes, Trudeau says, as Canada backtracks on liberal immigration plans. We made some mistakes. It wasn't mistakes. They knew exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it. And they kept doing it until it wasn't tenable anymore, until it made it so that it was impossible without doing something to win another election. Of course, they won't win anyway. Canadians have had enough. I do not believe there's any chance that Trudeau gets reelected in a minority or anything. Can you imagine a country actually electing that asshole again? I know, it's fucking unbelievable, isn't it? They were warned about the housing shortage in Canada that was resulting from the mass immigration. And the thing is, you shouldn't even need to be warned, right? I'm sure they've got, people working on logistics on every aspect of Canadian life and the economy all the time. But you've just, anybody with common sense shouldn't need to be warned. You should just know. It should just be obvious. Okay, we got it. Here's how many housing units do we have? How many apartments do we have? How many police do we have? How many hospital beds per 10,000 people do we have? All of this stuff. It's all stuff that if you're a responsible leader that actually cared about the people, this is all stuff that you'd want to know and that you would know and you'd insist on knowing and you'd demand to know. So I don't believe a word that comes out of this liar's face, because he's proven himself to be a liar and he's proven himself to be untrustworthy. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.